Hello, and at least once I'm in time. Sorta. It's about 6 p.m. I could have started this vlog about 8 hours ago, but I woke up around 10 a.m. this morning, ate something, and then started once again messing around with the Odyssey. Too bad that I only have a digital version, VST version of it. But what comes to using a VST version of an analog synth is that I don't have to worry about tune. It's always in tune unless I detune it. So, and one nice thing also with the VSTs or with the analog synths in general is that the user interface is very simple. If you take Odyssey for example, it's all about knobs, switches and sliders. Whereas if you take something like DX7, it's a whole nother animal to program, because FM synthesis is a bit more complicated than what comes to an analog synth with 2 oscillators. And you have everything in your fingertips. Well, not in this case, but on screen you have everything. Because moving one slider, switching something or turning a knob, it changes the sound immediately, and it's far more easier to grab how things work. If I want this thing to do this and this, it's far more easier to program, although there are no presets, which is also something that I like. You have to start from scratch. Don't talk too fast, you'll mess it up. If you want to create a sound, you always start with nothing, and you hopefully end up with something. And I took a trip to the grocery store. There was still something I needed to buy for those birthday parties, but I think now we have everything, with the exception of gluten-free pies, Karelian pies, or cocktail pies, however you want to call them. So I have to go to Veturi, which is about, I don't know, maybe 3 kilometers from here. Or if I can take my in-laws to take me there. Because riding a scoot on a weather like this is one thing. Riding on a scoot in hard traffic, nope. Not me. So I'll take a car if I can. Besides, that box is pretty big. There are, I don't know, 300 pies, I think, in one box. Or was it 150, something like that, I don't remember. But now when I get back home, I'll continue to do what I did before. And today I think I'll start digging around with the or messing around with different kinds of drum machines, because Lindrum is nice if you want to create kind of a real drummer, because those are samples. Those are not synthesized drums in actual Lindrum. Those are samples. And same thing with LM1, I think. Those are actual samples of a drum hit. But I need something that's more mechanical. So maybe, I don't know, 808, maybe a bit too lo-fi. Maybe 900 series would be a good part. And now I wish that I'd own a 4-track cassette recorder. This is something that I don't want to do this kind of thing with a computer. I would like to have an actual cassette recorder, 4-track recorder, just to get that right sound. Although I've done some things where I first do things digitally, then mix it and master it, and then record that to the cassette tape, and that cassette tape back to the computer. And you may ask why there are tape saturation plugins. Because tape is tape. It's same thing with well, there was a time when, well, this was kind of a days when things were moving towards fully digital sound production. There were actually these recorders that recorded to VHS tape. I don't remember the name of that system, but that was kind of weird. I've seen one of those things, and It's weird if you think about a tape recorder, and now I mean actual reel-to-reel tape recorder, cassette recorder, and then you have this weird thing that uses VHS tapes. Yesterday I watched the video where they said that cassette tapes are coming back. Well, I don't think they're coming back, because the cassette is a format that never really went away. And cassette is the only format that remembers where you left. Just think about it. If you're listening an audiobook that's coming from a cassette tape, you're listening to an audiobook in your car, and then you decide to switch to another car. Well, if that car also has a cassette tape player, you can continue where you left off. CD players can't do that. So, well, MP3 players can, but still, cassette tape is the only format that remembers where you left. And I like the sound of cassettes, but that's probably because that's what I grew up with. We didn't had a record player, or LP player, vinyl player. Only thing we had when I was a kid was cassette players, and we had multiple of those. And that's something I've liked, although I've digitized some of my kind of important tapes, because those can always tangle and break off and whatever. So I've digitized some of them, but there are still quite a few that I would like to digitize when I have the time, but that's one of those then when projects. It's almost midnight. It's about 11:30 sharp exactly. And well, yesterday and today has been kind of one-sided, but you know me, if you're a long-time viewer, when I get new toys I have no life. So what we have here is virtual drum machine TR-808 emulation and a classic mini Moog, or my mini Moog, yeah. And the thing is that on that 808 track I have the drum machine, way too much distortion, way too much reverb, and a compressor that clamps down every single bit of dynamic there is. So this sounds like a cheap hip-hop track from early 80s so far, and I use the Moog for bass lines. That's what I like to use it for. There are quite a lot of things you can do with a mini Moog emulations and with the real thing, especially with real thing, there's the hands-on feel. But I use Moogs basically for bass lines, if I want to do something that has that power that Moog is known for. And mini Moog goes pretty well. I tried a few different ones and this sounds the best. I also tried a few micro Moog emulations, but I have to tweak a bit more. I wasn't satisfied, or there wasn't any presets that were close enough, so I have to make my own. I have to make my own patches with time. And I'm going to add sampled drums on top of that drum machine. So there's drum machine that's extremely distorted, extremely reverbed, and extremely compressed. And then I pull that track completely down. I add a kind of real sounding drums. What comes to tones, they're samples, not electronic. And then I raise that drum machine just a bit so it adds some flavor. So this is the plan for today. I really hope that tomorrow brings something else than this, because, well, I'm interested as a small child in a candy store, but I don't know about you really, unless you're interested about this stuff. And then I'd have to try to find a way how to demo these in a video form. But I think there is a way, it just takes a bit more work. But anyways, I'll keep on tinkering. See ya!